my 2028 presidential dream ticket. Welcome to Law and Society. I know it's a little premature, but I've been thinking about so many leaders who are standing up to Donald Trump and trying to think of a future where we have a strong presidential candidate and a strong Democratic ticket that can win the 2028 presidential elections. So, who I think there's so many great people, right? There's Gavin Newsom. There are leaders who are coming up now. People have talked about AOC. People have talked about many senators. I think, for me, as it stands now, the strongest presidential ticket for 2028 for the Democratic Party is Senator Mark Kelly and Governor Andy Beshear. Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona and Andy Beshear of Kentucky. And this is why. We are in the middle of a race war. We are in the middle of what far-right racists and sexists and bigots are making a comeback. And so we need the country to remember that even in the 1790s, when the Bill of Rights was drafted and ratified, it was all voted for and ratified by white men. So it is not that white supremacy is a problem that all white men experience. In fact, white men were instrumental in expanding human rights for American citizens and individual rights. And so it doesn't necessarily, in fact, what Mark Kelly and Andy Beshear, both one a red state governor, Andy Beshear, and the other one a purple state senator, who is currently being attacked by Donald Trump's regime, who is a fighter pilot, an astronaut, and a senator, husband of a representative of Congress who survived gun violence, a gunshot to the head. That's just skimming the surface on top of surface of what Mark Kelly has endured and continues to lead bravely. And Andy Beshear has shown that a Democratic governor can govern a Republican state and do so and be reelected. And so that brings in the white male vote. That is a very, very big demographic. And I believe that in order for us to overcome the MAGA white superiority, white supremacy, mediocre, favor-driven, loyalty-driven regime, I believe we can reassert the American dream by having two white men who far more resemble the examples that our founding fathers would have wanted in our leaders. To be able to serve the people, to be able to serve a cause that's greater than yourself, and them being white is a non-factor in creating a more perfect union. And I believe that that would make a very strong ticket and not create variables if there are women or a person of color on the ticket, where it frays the solidarity of that male white bloc. There are plenty of men, white men in America, who are not bigoted, who are seeing what is happening and they are not okay with it. And it needs to be reasserted that white men are not all white supremacists, that we can have an equal world with two white men leading the ticket who see the bigger picture, who serve the majority and the vast majority, and in fact, all of the people in taking care that the laws be faithfully executed instead of vagrantly violated. So that's my take on who I think would be strong candidates for the 2028 presidential ticket. And I think we should think about that. Race always plays a part into it. And when we see that white supremacists are using the race as a cudgel to convince ill-informed or inundated white people who feel emboldened by the concept of white superiority, we need to remind them and show them that no, that's not whiteness at all. That's mediocrity. Whiteness is nothing. Blackness is nothing. Everybody is equal. And we live by our merits. We live by our inherent rights to life, liberty, and property in the United States of America. And those rights belong to everyone. The rights to due process belong to everybody. Following the laws is an obligation for everybody in a functioning republic. And I think Senator Kelly and Governor Beshear would be a great example of putting up a ticket that cannot be cracked, that will only galvanize more people. And that will, in many ways, placate the mediocre white men who are inundated and believe that only white men can get the job done. Because now they don't have an excuse to vote for the other side on the premise of whiteness. And I think we need to eliminate that whiteness factor in this presidential election that is coming up and dispel the notion that white superiority is better than color blindedness and the basic truth that American white men have historically expanded rights for all people. That is part of our history. And we need to champion that part of our history as well. But that said, thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.